Hey everybody, this is Brian Mann from Forward Expedition. Today I decided I'm going to do a short video about my 2011 Jeep Wrangler Unlimited Rubicon. And particularly, just want to show you a lot of the modifications that I've done to this Jeep over the last 13 years, and really since 2018 when I really got the bug for overlanding. So I just want to take you on a little journey here. I'm standing next to the Missouri River at the DeSoto Bend Wildlife Refuge here in western Iowa. And I'm just going to give you a little insight as to what I've done to my Jeep and maybe some things I might do later. So first up, let's talk about what's under the hood and between the axles. So my Jeep, again, I purchased it in October of 2011, brand new. And today I'm standing here on the 1st of June 2024, and my Jeep's almost got 217,000 miles on it. So what you see here is the 3.8 liter V6, and I think what has kept it running for so many miles is the fact that I'm old school. I change the oil in the oil filter every 3,000 miles, fully synthetic. And that's what's kept her going. But here are just a few things that I've done to the Jeep. Mainly a little bit of overlanding reasons and other reasons. But the first thing is I got a K&N filter. If those of you that don't subscribe to the old K&N filters and are tired of spending money throwing them away, I would highly recommend to switch to the K&N. And by the way, I'm not a sponsor. I'm not being sponsored by anybody here. This is just my rig, my opinion, and the things that I put on it. Behind that, I installed the Genesis dual battery system, and this is essential if you're going to go off-roading and overlanding, especially if you're going to be pulling a lot of amps through a lot of accessories. And I'll share with you in another video the stuff I pack in my Jeep, and I'll show you everything I plug into the system. As to why this is a really a valuable thing to have when you're out by yourself. Also, what I've put in here is this, let's swing around here so you can see it, the S-Pod switch panel. And when I get into the interior, I'll show you the actual switch panel up there. But this is where I wire my accessory lighting. If I get a winch, well, actually the winch, I'll go right directly to the battery. But this is good for accessories. And you got a switch panel inside that you can have access to. Also, I installed new heavy-duty spark plug wires just to keep the heat from deteriorating the coating on the factory stuff. So I just did that. The biggest thing I did a few years ago is, you really can't see it here, and I'll crawl under the Jeep best I can, but I put RIPP long tube headers and cats on this thing, probably about 3 or 4 years ago. I took the entire exhaust system off, ripped out everything from the front to the back, removed that big canister muffler that you can see from underneath the back bumper on most JKs and even the JLs, and replaced it with the RIPP long tube headers. And from the cat's back, I put a Flowmaster American Thunder catback exhaust, and it sounds pretty good. I'll include a little bit of some audio here of the Jeep when I turn it on later on. You can hear how it sounds. Sounds really good. In terms of the drivetrain in this Jeep, it's got the NV231 rock track transfer case. with the Dana 44 axles and differentials, front and rear, which is the 4.10 gear ratio. So in addition to the Dana 44s, a couple of years ago I put on Tom Wood's custom 1350 drive shafts, both front and rear, on this thing, just because my old drive shafts were just looking pretty bad and rusty, and just wanted to get them cleaned up. In terms of wheels, I have been running 33s on this thing since the second set of tires, and I think this is the fourth, maybe the fifth set of tires I've had on it. These tires have got about 50,000 miles on them. And I put the Fuel Off-Road Enduro matte black wheels, a 17x9 with 4.5-inch spacing. And the reason that I did that, as many of you Jeep owners will probably, I'll move around here, probably can relate to this. But when you put bigger tires on your Jeep and you use stock wheels, sometimes you get rubbing on your sway bar there when you're cranking the tire in. So I went with these wheels to push the spacing out a little bit further, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. So when I was getting ready for overlanding, I knew I was going to have a lot of weight on this thing, so I also put on the Teraflex big brake kit with a 13.3-inch slotted rotors. And basically the front is, you got dual pistons pushing those brake pads versus a single piston. And I also installed the Teraflex Brake Master Cylinder with the oversized bore. And this gives me more fluid, you know, to push through.
Next, let's take a look at some suspension and armor mods, along with some other precautionary changes I've made. Because of all the gear I pack with me when I'm on my overland trips, I purchased the Teraflex Falcon Series 2.1 Monotube shocks, just to give me a little firmer ride as I'm traversing the rough two tracks in the backcountry. One of the first mods I did to my Jeep back in 2018 was install the 2.5-inch Rubicon Express lift kit with a heavy-duty front adjustable track bar. After I installed the lift kit, and basically to just give me a stronger front end, I installed the Teraflex heavy-duty tie rod and drag link kit, in addition to the Teraflex Monster heavy-duty forged rear adjustable track bar, mainly so I could really dial in the geometry of my Jeep. For additional clearance, and perhaps just to prepare for some potential mishaps while on the trail, and just to dress my Jeep up a bit, I went ahead and purchased the Barricade Trail Force heavy-duty front and rear bumpers, along with the Barricade front skid plate, and put those on myself in my garage. For additional protection and side clearance, I also purchased the Mopar Rubicon rock rails and replaced the rails that came with the Jeep. To give me added protection while I'm climbing over rocks on the back trails, I purchased the Poison Spider Dana 44 bombshell differential covers. With the 33-inch tires and the larger fuel wheels, I knew this would be adding additional weight to my tire carrier in the back. To ensure I wasn't putting extra strain on my rear tailgate hinges, I went ahead and purchased the Smittybilt Pivot heavy-duty tire carrier. To make sure I have a little bit of additional range while I'm in the backcountry, I purchased the Rotopax fuel can, and I had a custom mount built that I could mount to my Smittybilt tire carrier. And now, let's take a look at some of the lighting modifications I've added to my Jeep. As most of you JK owners are probably aware, the stock headlights aren't the best that come from the factory, so I ended up purchasing the JW Speaker LED projector beam headlights, and man, what a difference they make. In addition, I also replaced those stock fog lights that came off the old bumpers with the DV8 off-road 4-inch LED fog lights. To give me additional visibility to the sides when I find myself driving at night on two tracks in the backcountry, I purchased the Quadratec Radius LED 4-inch cube lights, and I had these custom mounts made that I could actually attach to my rack system. And to really light up the trail at night, I purchased the Vision X 42-inch X-Mitter LED light bar with the Euro beam. And this thing really lights up the road ahead. I'll share with you now some of my overlanding mods. I had planned to purchase a rooftop tent that I'll show you in a subsequent video about all the gear that I load on my Jeep. But as I was doing my research, I wanted to make sure I had a rack system that I knew was going to be strong, secure, and wasn't attached to the bumper, but rather attached to the frame. So I ended up purchasing the Kargo Master Congo Pro Rack. As you can see, the rear mounts for the rack system actually attach to the rear frame of the Jeep and really provide a stable platform for holding quite a bit of weight. Even though I felt confident that this rack system would provide a very solid platform for all the weight that I would be putting on top, I also knew that the system could rick and rack back and forth. So I ended up purchasing some hard rubber material and cut it to size so that I could put it between the space between the vertical rails in the back and the sides of my hardtop. I anticipated that even though I had purchased this hard rubber and put it between the vertical frame and the side of my hardtop, I knew that the paint would probably be rubbed off of my hardtop. But to me, it was worth it because this has provided a very stable foundation for my rack. Some of my most favorite places to do overland camping and driving happen to be out in the high plains in the middle of nowhere with no shade. So I ended up purchasing the ARB 2500 awning, which is basically an 8x8 awning system that provides ample amount of shade to get me out of the sun. And now let's take a look at some of the things I've done to the interior of my Jeep. Here you can see I've removed the factory door storage nets and replaced them with the JK door pockets. And also the storage net just under the temperature controls. To better secure my phone, iPad, and GoPros, I purchased the Vector JKE dock along with several 67 design mounts. Here you can see the interior S-Pod JK switch panel, which is easy to install just above the rearview mirror. To better protect my seats, I purchased the Barricade tactical seat covers for both the front and rear passenger seats. To provide me with better storage capacity, I ended up removing my 60% rear passenger seat and built this custom storage compartment. It took a bit of measuring and design work, but I was able to come up with this solution that enables me to store all of my tools and off-roading gear. I used a couple of piano hinges to secure the lid to the base structure and also installed a chain link just to prevent overextending the hinges. I ensured to get the interior height of the storage compartment just right so that my toolboxes would easily fit. I mounted the framing to the Jeep using the factory bolts used to secure the seats. I purchased a small throw lug just to dress up the top of the lid. And I added secure straps to both front corners of the lid just to keep things from bouncing around. I designed and built this rear storage shelf just to have a place to secure some odds and ends. I had a guy build me these metal shelf mounts that I used to mount my shelf to the back of my Jeep. As part of the Genesis dual battery system, I ran power to the back of my Jeep. I used this to plug in my portable fridge freezer unit. To help with my limited cooking skills, I ended up purchasing this Outback JK Trailgater table that mounts to the interior of the tailgate. I had considered purchasing the goose gear system to enable interior storage for the back of my Jeep, but I just felt it was too intrusive. So I ended up purchasing the front runner JKUR rear cargo slide. This thing's pretty slick. I can easily secure my fridge, freezer, and other storage containers to this slide-out tray, and it gives me access to the hidden storage compartment underneath. I added this 6-inch Raxium Slim LED light to the rear of my Jeep just to give me better visibility at night when I'm trying to dig around with all of my gear. I installed these red LED dome light bulbs, which has really made it easier for my eyes to transition and adjust when I go back out into the dark. And that about does it, folks. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I'm going to close it down for now. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And any questions you have, shoot them my way. Talk to you later. Bye.